Hello everyone, and welcome back to SimpleSpeak English. My name is Mark, and wherever you are listening from today, maybe at home, maybe on your way to work, or maybe just relaxing with a cup of coffee, we are really happy you are here with us.
Hi everyone, I'm Lily, and thank you so much for joining us again. If this is your first time listening, welcome. And if you come back every week to practice English with us, we really appreciate you spending your time with us today.
Yes, and as always, our goal here is simple. We want you to feel relaxed, comfortable, and confident while listening to English. No pressure, no stress, just a natural conversation, like two friends talking together.
That's right. And before we begin today's topic, we want to ask you a small question. How are you feeling today? Are you feeling motivated, or maybe a little tired, or maybe even a little stuck in your English learning?
Yes, because if you are learning English, there is a very good chance that at some point you feel stuck. I remember when I was learning another language, there were days when I felt like I was improving, and other days when I felt like I forgot everything.
I know that feeling. Sometimes you study a lot, you listen, you practice, and still you feel like you are not moving forward, and that can feel frustrating.
And that is exactly what we are talking about today. Today's topic is feeling stuck in English. Here's how to stay positive.
Yes, because many English learners think they are the only ones feeling this way, but actually, almost everyone feels stuck at some point. It is a normal part of learning.
Before we continue, if you enjoy slow and easy English conversations like this, don't forget to subscribe to SimpleSpeak English. And you can also leave a comment and tell us where you were listening from today. We always enjoy reading your messages.
Yes, it really feels like a global classroom, and we love seeing listeners from different countries learning together.
So, Lily, let me ask you something. Have you ever felt stuck while learning something new? Not only a language, but anything.
Oh yes, many times. I remember when I first tried to learn how to cook properly. At first, everything was exciting, and I wanted to try new recipes every day. But after a few weeks, my food didn't improve much, and I started to feel discouraged.
That sounds familiar. What did you do?
At first, I thought maybe I was just not good at cooking. But later, I realized something important. I was improving, just very slowly. The changes were small, so I didn't notice them right away.
That is very similar to learning English. Progress is often quiet. It doesn't feel dramatic.
Yes, and sometimes learners compare themselves to others. They see someone speaking fluently and think, why am I not like that yet?
And that comparison can make people feel negative even when they are actually improving.
Exactly. And the truth is, everyone learns at a different speed. Some people learn faster in speaking, some people in listening, and some people need more time to feel confident.
I think one big reason people feel stuck is because they expect fast results. They want to speak perfectly very quickly.
Yes, and social media sometimes makes this worse. You see videos that say, learn English in 30 days, and then you think something is wrong with you if it takes longer.
But real learning does not work like that. Real learning is slow and sometimes even messy.
I remember a friend who was learning English, and she told me, I understand much more now, but I still feel like my speaking is bad. And I asked her, do you remember how you spoke 1 year ago? And she laughed because she realized she had improved a lot.
That's an important point. Sometimes we forget to look back and see how far we have come.
Yes, and staying positive often means changing how you look at progress.
Let's talk about a common situation. Maybe someone listens to English every day, studies vocabulary, and understands podcasts, but when it is time to speak, they feel nervous and slow.
That happens to many learners. Listening and speaking develop at different speeds. Your brain needs time to organize words before they come out naturally.
It's like having ingredients in the kitchen but not yet knowing how to cook the meal.
Yes, that's a good example.
So how can someone stay positive during this stage?
I think the first thing is to accept that feeling stuck is not failure. It is usually a sign that your brain is processing new information.
That's interesting. So being stuck can actually mean progress?
Yes, sometimes your brain is building connections quietly. Then suddenly, one day, speaking feels easier.
I've heard many learners say that. They struggle for months and then suddenly they understand conversations more easily.
Exactly, and that moment feels wonderful, but it only happens because of all the slow work before it.
Another thing I notice is that learners are often too hard on themselves.
Yes, they say things like, "My English is terrible," even when they can communicate quite well.
Meanwhile, they are having full conversations in a second language, which is actually very impressive.
Very true. Sometimes we forget how difficult learning a language really is.
Let me ask you something, Lily. What helped you stay positive when learning something difficult?
For me, it helped to make learning enjoyable. Instead of only studying grammar, I watched movies, listened to music, and talked to friends. It stopped feeling like work.
That's important. When learning feels enjoyable, motivation lasts longer.
Yes, because motivation goes up and down, but enjoyment keeps you going.
I like that. Motivation changes, but habits stay.
Exactly. Even small daily practice helps more than long, stressful study sessions once a week.
So maybe a good question for our listeners is this: how can you make English part of your daily life instead of a difficult task?
Maybe listening while walking, or watching short videos, or speaking to yourself while cooking.
Yes, talking to yourself in English is actually very useful.
And nobody needs to hear you.
Another thing that helps staying positive is celebrating small wins.
Yes, understanding one new sentence, learning 5 new words, or speaking without stopping for a few seconds, these are all real achievements.
I think many learners wait for a big success before feeling proud.
But learning is made of small successes.
Let's imagine someone listening right now who feels tired and thinks about quitting English.
I would tell them to rest, not quit. Sometimes you just need a short break.
That's a very good point. Resting is different from giving up.
Yes, learning should not feel like punishment.
And remember, English is a tool. It helps you connect with people, travel, work, and understand the world.
And every small step brings you closer to that.
And sometimes we forget that language learning is not only about words and grammar, but also about feelings. When you feel relaxed, your mind opens more easily, and learning becomes lighter.
That's very true. I remember one time when I was traveling and I had to speak in a language I was still learning. I was nervous at first, and I kept thinking about my mistakes. And because of that, I spoke very slowly and felt uncomfortable.
What changed?
Well, after a few days, I met people who were very kind and patient, and they smiled even when I made mistakes. Then I stopped worrying so much, and suddenly I could speak more easily. My level didn't change overnight, but my mindset changed.
That's interesting. So sometimes the problem is not our English, but our fear.
Yes, exactly. Fear makes everything feel harder.
I think many learners believe they must speak perfectly before they speak confidently, but actually, confidence comes first, and improvement follows.
Yes, children are a good example. They make many mistakes when learning their first language, but they keep talking anyway.
That's true. Children don't stop speaking because of grammar mistakes.
They just want to communicate, and slowly their language improves naturally.
I remember a funny moment when a friend of mine was learning English, and instead of saying, "I'm full," he said, "I'm finished" after dinner.
Oh no!
Yes, and everyone laughed, but in a friendly way, and after that, he never forgot the difference.
And that's another important thing. Mistakes are not enemies, they are teachers.
Exactly. Every mistake shows you something new.
I think many learners feel embarrassed when they make mistakes, but actually, mistakes mean you are trying, and trying means learning.
Let's talk about another situation. Sometimes learners feel stuck because they reach a middle level. They understand basic English, but becoming more fluent feels slow.
Yes, the beginner stage often feels exciting because you learn many new things quickly, but later progress becomes slower and less obvious.
And that can feel like standing still, even when you are moving forward.
Exactly. It's like walking up a long hill. At the beginning, you see big changes, but later the steps feel smaller.
I like that image. A long hill, not a wall.
Yes, not a wall.
Another thing that helps staying positive is changing your expectations. Instead of saying, I want to speak perfectly, maybe say, I want to communicate clearly.
That change is very powerful. Communication is the real goal.
I once met someone who spoke simple English, but he smiled, listened carefully, and spoke with confidence. People enjoyed talking with him.
Yes, because communication is human. It's not a test.
Sometimes learners forget that native speakers also make mistakes, pause, forget words, and change sentences in the middle.
I do that all the time.
Me too.
Real conversation is not perfect. It is natural and sometimes messy.
Let's share a small story for our listeners. Do you remember a moment when you suddenly realized your English improved?
Yes, actually. One day I was watching a movie and I realized I was not reading subtitles anymore. I didn't plan it, it just happened, and I remember feeling surprised and happy.
That's a beautiful moment.
Yes, and it reminded me that progress was happening even when I felt stuck.
I think many listeners will experience that moment someday, maybe sooner than they expect.
And when that moment comes, it feels very rewarding because you remember how difficult it felt before.
Another helpful idea is to change your environment sometimes. If learning feels boring, try something new.
Yes, listen to a different podcast, watch a new type of video, or talk about new topics.
Even changing where you study can help. A park, a cafe, or a different room at home.
Yes, sometimes a new chair can improve motivation.
That's true.
I also think it helps to remember why you started learning English in the first place.
That's important. Maybe for travel, work, study, or meeting new people.
When learning feels difficult, remembering your reason gives you energy again.
Let's imagine someone listening right now who feels slow compared to others.
I would say this: your journey is yours. Comparing your progress to someone else's journey only creates unnecessary pressure.
Yes, because you don't see how long they studied or how many mistakes they made before.
Exactly. Everyone has a different story.
I also want to mention something simple but important. Rest and sleep help learning.
Yes, that sounds simple, but it's true.
When you are tired, everything feels harder, including English.
Sometimes learners think they must study more and more, but actually, a short break helps the brain organize information.
So if you feel stuck, maybe your brain just needs time.
Yes, time and patience.
Before we slowly finish today's conversation, let's ask our listeners something again. What helps you stay positive when learning English?
Maybe listening to music, talking to friends, or remembering your progress.
You can write your answer in the comments, and maybe your idea will help another learner feel motivated today.
Yes, learning together makes the journey easier.
So today's message is simple. Feeling stuck does not mean you are failing. It usually means you are growing.
Be patient with yourself, speak kindly to yourself, and remember that every small step matters.
English is not something you finish learning, it is something you continue to grow with.
And one day, you will look back and realize how far you have come.
Thank you for spending this calm and relaxed time with us today.
If this conversation helped you feel more positive, don't forget to subscribe to SimpleSpeak English and share this episode with someone who needs encouragement today.
Take care of yourself, keep practicing slowly, and we will see you next time.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.